Who doesn't wonder what the future holds? I know I sure do, and you're probably no different. And my guest on today's episode of C-Suite Conversations knows a thing or two about painting a picture of what the future holds. His name is Spiros Margaris, and he's been globally recognized as a #1 fintech and finance thought leader and a top AI thought leader. In fact, Spiros has been personally acknowledged by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his transformative impact on India's fintech sector and invited to meet with him in New Delhi. Spiros' bold, innovative strategies shape the future of high-growth sectors around the globe, and I'm delighted to have him here today as my guest on this next episode of C-Suite Conversations. Marksman Daily presents C-Suite Conversations. Spiros, thank you so much for being here as part of this episode of C-Suite Conversations. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thanks, Karan, for having me.
So, Spiros, you've done a lot of remarkable work when it comes to being a futurist, a thought leader, a venture capitalist, so much more. Given the rapid evolution, of AI, do you believe the financial industry is truly prepared for its full-scale impact, or are we still in the early innings of adoption?
I truly believe that we're still in the very early innings of adoption. And startups or younger companies will be more advanced in adopting AI, and large institutions usually lag a little bit in implementing AI. Not that they don't explore, but they do lag. And it comes historically because young institutions, financial institutions, fintechs, they always used AI in some form. Not the AI we have now. It's magical generative AI, large language models, and what's to come. But machine learning in order to do the work with fewer people, that large institutions had a lot of people to work with.
Right. So one more thing I want to touch upon was it's fascinating to see this whole approach when it comes to AI, two different approaches. On the one hand, you've got a slightly more closed door, sandbox kind of approach, which you see from, say, an OpenAI or an Anthropic or so many more. And recently, you've seen others advocate for a more open source model, such as DeepSeek. In your opinion, which model do you think can drive more meaningful innovation and industry transformation? Is there one you would side with on that front?
I think it will be open source. I'm not against the closed environment like OpenAI has. But open source has advantage, obviously, that it's collaborative. It democratizes AI much faster. It helps, the whole community helping to make it better. I'm more open source, but I can see the advantages, obviously, also of a closed environment. Let's go away from AI and look at Apple, with the store and with the operating system that we were not able to modify anything in the operating system, and it worked. It worked because they were much more in control also for cyber attacks, etc. It's here to stay open source, and I think I'm also one of the believers that see the opportunities in both approaches. A combination.
Yeah,
and I think you can't stop it. The genie is out of the box. If DeepSeek builds its as AI gets more democratized, that means more people use it indirectly.
Yeah.
Directly. The cheaper things will become, obviously, but never forget. It's like, I give an example I like to give to my customers or when I give speeches. If you have more cars on the street, because say they would be for free in India, then you need to build more infrastructure. So the NVIDIA, the infrastructure theme of AI will not stop. So whatever capex you see for people, spendings, that will keep going strong. Meta, Microsoft, the government. When DeepSeek came out, a week before DeepSeek came out, China announced 140 billion spending in data centers. So basically, regardless how cheap AI becomes, you will have to build the infrastructure to run it,
Right.
And as I said, the more cars you have, the more streets you have to build, the more you have to maintain them.
There has to be an entire ecosystem in place, is what you're saying, and it's an essential.
Absolutely.
It's a must-have. Right, fair enough. So let's switch things up a little bit and talk about all things finance, because of course we've seen AI touch upon and reshape wealth management, lending, payments, so much more. But even beyond that, what are some of the more profound shifts you've seen, you see playing out in the financial sector over the next decade or so?
Not even decades. It's going to be the next 5 years. Everyone uses AI for KYC, know your customer, fraud detection. Credit card companies use this already, or credit. Credit will be something where people get loans very quickly. Even because we will know more about them. At least the companies who will provide the credit, and it will be instant. Investments or retirement plans. It will tell you constantly, you lost your job, you're moving, a different city. It will say maybe we have more money to spend and you can spend more on this, or maybe Spiros, you spend too much on food, or maybe your portfolio, with your new lifestyle, or you have children, or they've gone out of your house. There are a lot. the scenarios are endless. Like an advisor, you still don't have to do what it tells you. It's going to be there. And that's the shift will happen. And smaller companies, fintechs, compared to large institutions, will be able to attract, because they're probably more cutting edge. They don't have legacy to drag with them. They're much more likely to advance in a way like Amazon advanced from selling books 20 years ago. It's a retail giant. More players that don't have legacy systems, older systems, will be able to advance much faster their technology and provide customers magical things, customized, personalized advice on investments, on spending, on anything that touches their lives, and it's not only financial institution, it could be embedded finance, basically supermarkets, social media platforms. Not that large institutions cannot catch up, but sometimes younger generation, whatever, they want something different than their parents have. So we will see a big shift in offerings from larger players to smaller players, which eventually will become big as well.
It's like you said, the genie's out of the bottle, and the genie's going to be working across many, many things to change things as we know it. So a lot of your work previously, Spiros, has also seen you advise governments, it's seen you work with global institutions. How do you see AI and FinTech dovetailing, to shape global economic power shifts, particularly between the West and emerging markets like India?
I'm a big fan of India. I'm a huge fan, and it is going to be, in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be, I believe, one of the top 3 countries, powerhouses, economies in the world. It's like almost in a perfect spot because it's between China and America. It gives probably something of both worlds. And people are highly educated. You can tell when you look at the leadership of Indian in top companies globally. It's a country under Prime Minister Modi, and its government and its great leaders has shifted even more so to empower the underbanked, unbanked. And I think because everyone understood, beyond financial technology, AI and regular infrastructure like highways, etc., that it needs spending, and you have to empower your people to do great things. For instance, in India, it used to be that women didn't have as much access to banking because it was more the boys that the fathers took the bank. But now through FinTech, everyone can have a bank account and can do business. But so technology empowers countries, the ones that embrace it, to advance much faster. Not unlike a startup. It's like the West are like legacy, some West. I think Europe has this little bit problem because you establish you're
Correct.
not as hungry anymore in general. We simplify here, and Asia, India, etc. has to advance and does through investment technology, through empowering, but that also needs a light touch on regulation. When I was in India and I talked to the Minister of Finance, she asked me one advice, and I said, regulation is more art than science. Eventually, you need some regulation, but it's like a child. You have to let it run. It will fall. It will grow. And if you over-regulate, like we do in Europe, you stifle innovation and you stifle a country. One thing I can recommend, and when I would tell everyone, every country, is regardless how fresh and advanced you are, you always should remember where you started. The same for startups. It's like if you begin, it's hard and you become an established player. It's like, oh, I've made it. But then there's always somebody behind you who will try to do what you do better. So you always have to remember your original state where you wanted to change things for the better. And I think coming back to India, I love what India does. And I think we will see much more in the future on a global scale, but it will need continuous investment in AI to be courageous, to take risks, even if some of those risks don't work out. Then you just correct them. It's easier said than done, but all good things are difficult to do.
You are correct. So my last question to you, Spiros, is that we've seen AI encroaching on a lot of knowledge work. Like I think just yesterday or this morning, I happened to read Mark Zuckerberg saying that 1% of his mid-level coders will be given to AI. That work is going to be basically obsolete for them. What advice on a similar wavelength would you give to professionals and businesses looking to stay relevant in an AI-first world?
I think some jobs, like the carpenter, etc., will be not as much affected or at all affected by AI. Others, will be more, might be coders, etc. But I would, at the next stage we're going, I think people should educate themselves about the possibilities of AI and think about of their strength, emotional intelligence, interaction with people, and using AI as a tool. Like we use Excel, Excel didn't take away accounting jobs. Don't compete. It's something to augment. Think of your strength. There will be some things that AI can't do. Companies should keep encouraging continuous learning and using AI to make the company even stronger. So basically say you have 100 people. With AI, maybe you will have like a workforce of 200 people. So it will help a company to stay competitive and keep the workforce, because companies need people, for interaction, for the work and the knowledge they have about the company. So with AI, they're like super workforce. And that's a huge advantage, and remember, don't compete with AI, but bring in your emotional intelligence, figure out, getting to know new business partners, a lot of things, talking with your co-workers that basically AI can't do. Lovely having you here with us, Spiros, and thank you so much for being part of this conversation. Thank you very much, Karan. Thanks. That then was my conversation with Spiros Margaris on AI, finance, the future of FinTech, and so much more. I hope you did enjoy this conversation, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you, and until then, take care.